Welcome to the Can Opener Podcast. This is Evan, back with a special guest. What's up, brother? Introduce thyself.
Tyler Slute, TS, same initials as Taylor Swift, my girl. That's how I'm going to introduce myself, yeah.
Do you actually like her, or is that a joke?
Her new movie's coming out on Saturday, man. We got to go see it.
I can't tell, though.
You gotta come with us.
I can't look through whether this is sarcastic.
Dude, the movie has a 1 out of 5 stars.
One out of 5 stars?
The movie, her new movie. Absolutely terrible. Anyways, back on track here, yes? Okay, so, my name's Tyler Slute.
So you're saying it's terrible. I saw it. It showed me an ad on the YouTube recommended.
The movie?
And that was the first time, after you talked about it. It was the first time I saw it.
Interesting.
Yeah, Google's listening.
That happens so often nowadays, man.
But do you actually like Taylor Swift?
I do. She's mainstream, sure. I don't listen to her every day. Probably once a year, but hey, I love her.
So what's the appeal?
Just the melody of her music, you know, it's just feel good music. It's pop. That's all it is. Like when I'm in that mood,
I get it.
To be uplifted in that 10 minutes out of that hour-long car ride,
I get it.
That first 10 minutes after a coffee, I want 6 of her songs.
Okay, I get it.
Yeah, but then after that,
okay,
I'm like,
let's move on.
Fuck this.
Taylor Swift. And I saw the Cats. What is that? Wasn't it like a classic play?
It's just a movie. Yeah, it is a classic play, actually. It's playing in Toronto right now.
It was a classic play, but it's Taylor Swift's movie?
So now they've made it into a Hollywood movie, and they trusted Taylor Swift with the script.
Dude, are they making any original stories anymore?
You know, that's what I came here to talk about. I came to your house to talk about the lack of creativity. It's a dying value. People just take other people's ideas and thoughts, and they don't think for themselves. Yeah, I turned it off after half an hour. I couldn't do it.
Were you a fan of like Goodfellas and like those classic?
I've seen them, but no, I'd rather spend my time doing something. But I appreciate it. Yeah, it's good cinema.
See, but like isn't it the same thing? I didn't watch it, but isn't it like kind of the same thing?
Bingo, the same thing. The first half hour.
Is there any new movies?
I mean, I like to think there is. Independent movies are different than the mainstream. Obviously, they're independent. Yesterday, I went to go see Honey Boy.
Oh yeah, how is that?
Honey Boy is his own. Do you know what it is?
Are you crying while you were watching it?
I did tear up at one point. I mean, this kid was fucking abused, and
Shia?
Yeah.
He seems like it, eh?
Dude, he's in and out of jail. This is the third time he's assaulted a police officer, and that's in the movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know he was assaulting
The movie's about him, and how after the third time he assaulted a cop last year, he was put into rehab for months. That's in the movie. Him going through rehab.
Drugs, punching cops?
I don't know about drugs. We didn't really establish that in the movie.
Why did he go to rehab? Just like behavioral?
Behavioral. He was drunk.
Oh, sure.
And he...
Alcohol.
Yeah.
That's a drug. I consider that a drug.
But like,
maybe even crazier than a drug.
He's so creative. He shows like raw emotion, and that's not scenes or emotion that's like stolen from another narrative. It's his own, irrespective of. Gotta be aware of this.
He's almost become he's become iconic almost in our culture. You know what I mean? Like just
do you think? I think people don't notice him.
I don't know a lot of his work, but like his name comes up all the time in every subject almost. Kanye West. Kanye's like, oh yeah, Shia LaBeouf influenced all of my style.
Did he say that?
He said that.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So, what else?
Wow.
Kanye. There was another fucking example I was going to bring up. And
we get to see his childhood and how he's raised.
Yeah, just do it. But like, there's just so much. He's like a meme. He's become popularized, iconicized through this new.
Just do it.
Yeah, dude. He's just. Who else is like that? I don't know who else is like that. He's so famous.
He's himself, man. He went to a fucking award show with a bag on his head, a brown paper bag with 2 holes, and it said something like insult me on it or some shit like that.
And then he had like set up rooms, and he would have people who would come in and like sit on a one-on-one interview.
Yeah.
Oh, what's up, bro? We're doing a pod, Doug.
What's up, man?
Good, Doug. Hey. That's all good. We just started.
This guy probably does a podcast every day. Anyway,
We're just ranting.
Casey, nice to meet you. How are you?
Tyler, he works at the...
Do not judge a person by a friendly handshake. My handshakes are shit, usually. I think he was making fun of my handshake.
He works at the beer store.
Yeah.
Let's pot it up. Gonna talk about Donald Trump. Fuck. But what? Yeah, what is there to talk about? There's not.
You seem to have a lot to talk about. All the homeless people.
Yeah, the fallen angels. The fallen angels that come to the beer store lineup.
Nothing less than angels, man. You can see it in them.
Dude, some of them have beautiful souls. Some of them have been consumed by the devil, clearly.
And
some of them have been consumed by Satan. You can see it in their eyes.
he knows, eh? He's been to the beer store, eh?
Yeah.
You've been telling him every time you have an experience, you come in.
Dude, I describe it pretty vividly.
Like, one of the employees today fucking called this guy said this guy lives in a crack den.
Some guy found a bag of Coke on the ground.
Yeah.
And sold it down the street.
Yeah, no, there's a lady that was like 10 minutes to close that came in
Was
and
that
found
you
it.
who told me
It was
that?
right in front of the cash. She
Yeah.
found a dime bag of Coke.
Nice.
It lit up her day. She's like, I can afford the food for my kids tonight.
Jesus Christ.
No, she didn't say that, but
Yeah, she probably did in her head.
she was happy. And the next day
fuck.
she comes in,
That
she
was
looks
so
at me,
funny.
gives me that look, and says, you know how much money I made off that last night? She said it was just under $100 or something. Wasn't that much, but...
Dude, there's a real world.
So then she bought like a
There's
2-4 for the
real-
first time in her life.
I'm celebrating. Dude, there's a real world that exists beyond our privileged lives, and that's the real world. When you find a bag of Coke on the ground and sell it
Mm-hmm.
and buy a 2-4 with that money.
Yeah.
And maybe pay a couple bills.
Couple bills.
Yeah, hopefully.
Couple Christmas presents.
Yeah. Anyways, impeachment, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me what you think.
So,
Have you been following it?
I was just about to walk into the movies yesterday, and boom, shows up on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
Don't ask me why I was on Facebook in the movie theater lounge. And
Sad, eh?
impeachment. It's fucking sad. It's not in the moment at all. And so, yeah, I realized I didn't even really know what impeachment was.
Yeah.
And quick Google search, impeachment doesn't mean anything besides it's literally just outlining charges.
Mhm.
That's it. It doesn't mean that he's convicted or anything. It doesn't mean he's out of power, out of office. So now that's the first step. The second step is just to go to the Senate. The Senate's owned majority by Republicans.
And Mitch McConnell.
And this is known. So why are people like, if we impeach him, this is implied, if we impeach him, then, it's going to get so much better. I don't know. I haven't read up too much on him.
Yeah.
I think you know more about it than I do, but
I don't know. I don't know what the fuck to believe anymore. That's my problem.
Yeah.
It's like, because it is what you just said, is like, it is just like such an exaggerated show. It's like literally looks like a reality TV show when you look at the substantial things that will come from it. There's nothing that will come from other than he'll probably gain a little more street cred for being able to be like, fuck the establishment. They didn't get me on shit, bro.
Yeah.
Look at me, dude. I'm still here.
like, does it actually do more harm to the Democratic cause? America's fucking cause?
I think so.
Yeah.
Because it's like, look at Teflon Don. He's still up. And he's going to be able to use this to get reelected in 2020. But I don't know, bro. How, for 3 years, whenever I go to the gym, go to Good Life, CNN's playing. What is the thing you see 95% of the time? Russia. For 2 years straight, nothing came of that.
You're right, yeah.
And they call him a Russian asset, but they give him hundreds of billions of dollars increases in military spending, and they call him a Russian asset. And if you think you actually think someone's a Russian asset, you're not going to give them access to even more military spending in their control. It just doesn't make sense. And during the impeachments, I'm going to Google it.
So much to Google.
Yeah. This is important information, I think. During the impeachments, while the impeachments were happening, you know what else was happening behind the scenes? Supreme Court judges were being assigned
Appointed
to Mitch McConnell. They were being appointed by Mitch McConnell.
I don't know how that's able to happen.
Let's see.
Such a joke, democracy. There's such a spectrum of democracy.
Yeah, so as House votes to impeach Trump, McConnell pushes 13 judge nominations through Senate. While the rest of Washington focused on impeachment proceedings Wednesday, Mitch McConnell successfully pressed forward on a subject that has been the one knockout success for the Republican Senate and President Donald Trump judges. Blah, 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 blah. But, so Donald Trump's been in president for 3 years, and he has now almost nominated as many judges to the Supreme Court as Obama did in his 8 years.
Yeah, how the fuck is that possible?
Because people are just, it's like the show is going on.
Like, how do we in Canada decide who becomes a Supreme Court judge? Are they appointed by the highest?
I don't know. We should look probably more into it. It's probably a good question.
It just doesn't make sense. I mean, I'm
assuming it's appointed by the party in power.
Right, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because we have more, the party has more power in Canada. So, I don't know. It has to go through some sort of Senate, but our Senate is not like their Senate.
Yeah. I don't know, man. If you have, the highest power in the land, the United States, not the highest, but if you have somebody as powerful as the United States president who does not get impeached, there's no repercussions, no ramifications for something like inviting a Ukraine prime minister, president, to interfere into the election so blatantly in the open, nonetheless, in the fucking office. If there's no repercussions that come from that, fuck, man. And what country are we living in?
Exactly. And what's even crazier is the Democrat at the front, who's the front runner for the Democratic National Committee. Who's the front runner to be their elector? Joe Biden.
Joe Biden.
What is this whole thing about? Trump was trying to get dirt on Joe Biden.
Yeah. And
it found out that Joe Biden's son was making $50,000 a month from an energy company in Ukraine that was swept under the table. And there was a video I watched the other day talking about Joe Biden, someone convicting his son back in 2006 in Ukraine for $3 million bribe. I don't know.
Okay. Extortion.
Laundering or something.
Okay.
And he bragged about firing the person delivering the case in Ukraine.
In the Ukraine.
So it's not about the principle to the Democratic Party. It's not about the principle of violating the Constitution. It's about who knows what it's about. I have no idea. Because Joe Biden's doing the same thing, and he's running for president on their side. And he did the same thing. Withheld money and extorted money to prop his family up.
Yeah, okay. It's not entirely the same thing.
It's not the same thing.
But I see what you mean.
It's there.
Everybody in
there.
The political game, the game of politics, does the same fucking thing.
It's there.
Yeah.
It's there.
Yeah. That's why when people were here in Canada, to relate it to here, the SNC Lavalin scandal with Trudeau, when people were criticizing Trudeau for basically trying to hush up, what was her name? I
don't know much about this.
You don't know the SNC Lavalin?
Not much.
Yeah. Where was I going with that?
You were talking about girl, SNC Lavalin.
Yeah. I don't remember where I was going with that.
Interesting case, though, is a bribery case in Canada.
Yeah, they were trying to drop the charges against SNC Lavalin.
Yeah.
She was the justice minister?
I don't know, but I saw something that I read a Reddit comment about that case, and they said now they fired the executive, and now it's no longer on the corporation of SNC Lavalin. It's on the executive.
The executive person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who is in charge.
That's what they do. Yeah, the brand has to detach from whoever was the face of it. Yeah. That's the smartest move for the brand to do. Fuck, where was I going with that? I don't remember.
Lots of corruption though, but it's on Joe Biden and it's on Trump. Both of them. So where's the trust? There's only two parties. And you know Tulsi Gabbard?
No.
She's a Democratic. She's running. She's a Democratic nominee. Just a crazy fucking story. She's a veteran, and she's I don't know what it's called. The senator for Hawaii.
Okay.
She's like the main person in Hawaii.
What's her name?
Tulsi Gabbard.
Gabbard. Yeah, I read in the article this morning. And then, she
voted president at this.
She voted president. What does that mean?
Not a yes, not a yo.
Oh.
It was kind of like a protest vote.
Okay.
Because this shit's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, but one person
exactly
did that, and it's the only person that's not on the continent. He's far enough away from it to not
that's not
be
on the continent. Yeah,
on the hit list.
Happiness. Like, you're still finding happiness in the mountains of Hawaii.
Yeah, that's funny.
That is so. Yeah, that's a good point to bring out. She voted president.
Okay.
She was the only one because she's sitting there assuming like me and you are thinking. Except she's had more experience. She's been to war. Mm-hmm. She's been a medic in war. She's a congresswoman. And she, like, this shit's retarded. Because what's going to happen after this? It's going to be a huge headline. I had 2 people text me about this fucking Donald Trump impeachment. Like, it was the end of, like, Donald Trump was going to get lifted. Like, Donald Trump was going to get lifted out of the White House by, like, 6
just
guys.
Tossed out.
Just thrown outside the gates. Impeached, bitch. But it's like, it's a fucking...
No, man, he's solidified his fucking position.
But going back to it, it's a two-party game.
Yeah.
Two-party game. This Tulsi Gabbard, she's running for Democratic nominee. Hillary Clinton called her a Russian asset.
Mm.
And they've demonized her and the idea of running for a third party.
Mm.
They've demonized running for a third party in the United States of America, the DNC, the Democratic National Committee.
Yeah.
They have demonized it by saying that if you run for a third party, you're a Russian asset because you're taking votes away from the Democratic Party to a third party, and you're going to make Donald Trump win.
Okay. So the third party won't take any Republicans away. It is assumed that Democrats will be the large group to go to this independent.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they don't want to devolve power. They don't want to share the powers. It's a two-party system. It's so hard to believe that will ever change. Even in Canada here, this two-party system, which is NDP and other parties are coming up as well. They're involved, yes, but it's so hard to imagine that we'll actually, split that power. Mm-hmm. When so much is already in place. It's so solidified right now in America anyways. Mm-hmm. And you see that through so many different examples, but
it does seem like people will eventually get tired of knowing that they don't have a chance to have a real voice within that two-party system. You go look at Obama, increased drone strikes. He killed so many people.
Yeah, he did.
All he did. I don't want to say all he did, but he was a part of the establishment. Like, he comes out and he sells books. and he makes hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah, but how can you not? You can't expect a president not to be a part of the establishment. How do you, if that was his agenda to make change, if this ideal candidate goes in, gets elected to make change in a positive way, to equally distribute wealth,
he bailed out the banks.
you have to integrate into the system and change from within. You can't. You will not get invited to the table unless you are partially one of them.
I think that's a deep thought. I think there's a lot of angles we can come in from that.
Oh, for sure.
So for that, Obama was deeply a part of the. He did things for the establishment that did not help not only America but the world. He bailed out the banks. The banks in 2008.
Okay.
Everyone listening, go do deep research on what happened in 2008 financial crisis.
Yeah,
It's fucking insane.
And it's gonna happen again on some level.
And that was his choice. He was in power.
Okay, well, it's not his choice entirely.
The deep state, whoever's in charge of saying you guys are gonna get bailed out and no one's facing jail time. For the massive fraud that almost caused the global financial crisis. There's still people on mortgages that'll never be, so millions of people. So he was a part of the establishment, and what you're saying is you can't change it without going in and taking it apart from the inside. Until the internet and Bernie Sanders changed that last presidential election. He had all small donors. There was no super PACs. There was no huge $1 million donors.
It's very important.
$100,000 donors. But what happened to him? The Democrats fucked him over. The Democrats gave Hillary Clinton answers to questions to the debate before they had it. They were deeply connected.
Why is that?
Because Bernie Sanders is fighting for the people.
He's too radical. He's too far from the democratic ideal.
That's how they demonize these ideas. Because they want to be center, because the Republican Party and the Democratic Party are the same party.
What?
They're the same party.
I'm like, no, sure, what?
They are. What do you think? I think they're the same party. They play for the same people. They play for the people who have money, who have power.
Of course, we're in a capitalist system. Of course, they both play for that, but they have different values.
But
100%.
Now it's changed due to freedom of information. People like Tulsi Gabbard, people like Andrew Yang, who have ideas for the people, talking about a trickle-up economy with universal basic income, giving us $1,000 instead of giving the banks hundreds of billions of dollars. Like that, these are ideas that have only come through this freedom. Without it, there wouldn't have been. So that's why it's so crazy to see everybody get lost in the impeachment. Because, like, we should be able to know. We know this. Like, this is not...
So what should we be focusing on?
What should we...
Not going gung-ho about the impeachment. I mean, people need to be knowledgeable about the process, the judiciary political process of impeachment and whatever. Yeah, we need to know about that. But also, like, what should we be focusing on? What's the question to ask instead?
I would say be informed. Do your best to just acquire as much knowledge as possible. That's pretty much all you can do.
Yeah.
Because then you can make proper decisions.
Yo, you know what's crazy? I think something that is neglected and should be focused on more, I've only seen it a select few times on my Facebook feed, is... What time is it?
Go to work?
What time is it?
It's 2:36.
It's 2:36.
You got time? Like,
yeah.
Half an hour before? 35 minutes before?
Just half an hour. Half an hour is fine. Get there in 10 minutes too. Yeah. Whatever. This is so important, is on Facebook. This is one example.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen this. Mark Zuckerberg has been grilled on this for the past month.
I don't use Facebook anymore, bro.
The majority of people do, so you need to be up to date. Motherfucker.
Right. Dude, I don't want them in my... Dude, they're sucking my soul through that camera, I feel it.
False advertisements, politically driven, information and advertisements are false. They're not factual, and they're being advertised to people to sway them, to mislead them in one way or another, whether it's for Democratic or Republican. And Mark Zuckerberg says that the independent agency that they've contracted to not let this happen, to filter through all of these advertisements to see what's false and what's not false, he says it's up to them. It's their responsibility. They're doing a good job. But even if that's true, contracted or not, Facebook, it provides an avenue for disinformation, for information that's just blatantly false. So I'm talking about not misleading figures. I'm talking about facts and not facts.
Political campaign, political ads. I saw that political ads are 5% of their total revenue, and I'm sure it's even more in an election year.
On Facebook?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Is that in the election year? Is that in...
I don't know. I read that. I think I was yearly average, probably. But that's a huge amount of money for $1 billion company. So they're not gonna... No,
but I'm getting at how information is being disseminated. How are people digesting information?
Yeah, that's
if
true.
Facebook is what they spend most of their time on...
That's sad.
Then they're
fucked.
being fed this kind of information. I mean,
I don't know. You're making a good point. How do we? What makes you want to use Facebook? What makes you want to get your information from there? So
I used to use Facebook to connect with others. I don't anymore. I solely use it mostly use it for news.
Yeah.
I follow The Guardian. I follow RT. I follow left and right.
Oh, yeah, Russia,
left
baby.
and right.
Let's go.
Al Jazeera.
Dude, Al Jazeera's a good one.
Russia's important. You got to keep tabs on Russia, man.
Vladimir Putin's the only one out here saying we don't want a nuclear war. Everybody else is quiet.
He's actually got a conscience. He's the only one saying this. Like, we should be loving up on this guy. Come on. Just, you can't say that. I'm sorry. I retract.
Love it. Yeah, no, I thought the same thing when I saw him shirtless on that horse, dude. I was like,
fuck.
Dude,
he's a contender for JT. For JT, man.
100%. Oh, he would kill JT.
Yo, I
can see them in the octagon. Fuck Jake Paul and KSI. I want to see Vladimir Putin versus JT Octagon. 24, baby.
You just walk into the calendar store in the mall in this Christmas season, and you see the calendar of Justin Trudeau with his shirt off, and right beside, you see the calendar of...
We definitely live in a simulation. What the fuck were we just talking about?
We were talking about how people digest information, where and why. I think that is so important, man.
Yeah,
Like, historically, how have people got their information in order to vote?
Yeah.
Newspaper? Word of mouth? Newspaper is generally, I think, better journalism than what you see on social media. Of course it is. Of fucking course it is.
It's like the 6 major broadcasting companies in the United States. Or no, there's all the major broadcasting companies in the United States are owned by 6 billionaires. That's who controls the network of all of it.
That should be in the conversation for sure.
And so it's almost all bad, but it's like when you're talking about this stuff, I think about I listen to smart people on podcasts, and I've heard consistently the idea of our wisdom has not caught up with our intelligence. And if we have access to all of this stuff, we're smart enough to want to know it. We're smart enough to maybe not even want to. But we're not wise enough to see what can be potentially hurtful to yourself and the way you delegate information within your brain and how you feel about it and how you react to it.
It's sneaky.
So
sneaky.
We don't know how to maneuver that yet. So,
have you taken a psychology course? This is your first time in college, right? You need to take a psychology course, man. Psychology is such an integral part of today's world in everything, marketing,
I do a lot of self-research. Just read. The internet's a crazy place, bro. The internet's a beautiful place. You can read. You can read
beautiful
everything.
place. Have you been on the dark web?
Yeah, some of that
Just
shit, dude. Have you been
beautiful.
on the dark web?
Woo!
Dude,
I've tried to download the browsers and platforms to be able to access it. I got scared, man. I fucking tapped out halfway through. I got scared.
We used to go on the dark web. I remember we were on the dark. What is Bitcoin now? Bitcoin's like $5,000, $6,000. I remember being on the dark web
And it being
when Bitcoin was like $130.
yeah.
And you could buy people to murder people. It was like 50 grand to get a hitman.
Fucked.
There was all sorts of everything you could ever want on there.
Yeah, it's the greatest parts of humanity.
We were going to buy salvia. We were going to buy drugs on there.
You were, or did you?
We were.
You did, didn't
I
you?
think, no, one of my homies definitely.
Yeah.
They were ballsy. They didn't give a shit, bro. They were going deep. But yeah, the internet's a beautiful place. And maybe that's it, you know? We need to have more. Why don't we have more focus? I think it's coming into light now. Where's the focus on wisdom? Where's the focus on psychology? Where's the focus on philosophy? Where's the focus on mental health? Where's the focus on these ideas of how you interact with the world and how it interacts with you?
Yeah.
And understanding, or trying to understand and being open-minded.
Yeah.
These are all...
I think it's implicit it's expected to be implied in your post-secondary education.
But those institutions have turned out to be not the best place to have those conversations.
What do you mean? We have washrooms that are gender neutral and have machines to help people out of wheelchair. Have you been into that washroom?
Yeah, dude, I haven't been.
Oh,
to
it's
that
crazy.
washroom.
Welcome center. It's like
I should go in.
post-secondary campuses are like
selfies.
the
Maybe blow
breeding ground. Wait, what?
Come out, dude. Maybe that'll be my fucking 15 minutes of fame.
Yeah. No, I think it's important. Yeah, that environment, that atmosphere, post-secondary. It's implied that people sort of improve their wisdom, skills, and capacity to really. All those things that you just said is what's needed. Yeah. So how do we focus on those?
Yeah, I don't know. See, that's a good point. I don't know. Do you think that's really... I don't know if people just learn to learn. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there's a lot of intention to want to gain security through the institution of post-secondary school.
Oh, for sure. Most of my classmates, I'm in fourth year, but most of my classmates are there without putting any effort into it.
Yeah.
Very minimal effort. And I'm for sure guilty of that because of life, but also
but I think if you think, like, that's putting work, like, I don't think all of that is wasted time not in school. Like, you're still thinking about you still may put in more work than other people.
Agreed.
It depends how much you think about certain things.
It's true.
Yeah.
But I think
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
But it's the same with me. 90%, even the kids, I talk to and are my homies in my class, it's like they're talking about Buddy. I was having a conversation with Buddy outside the other day, dude.
Uh-oh.
Oh, maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I shouldn't put so many details on this.
What's his name?
No, but he's like, I'd be totally okay with just getting a regular job and just getting a job. And
Yo, that's my fear. That's my biggest fear.
oh, bro, me too.
Is just being one of the sheep,
But
herded.
but it's like, there's just such little thought. There's such little thought. It's such a fear complex. There's so much fear coming from that thought. That's not an original. That's not how you want to express yourself in life. That's not a real feeling. That comes from insecurity. He's an insecure guy. It comes from insecurity of not being able to do anything else.
Right. Okay.
And that's...
Not having the capacity to achieve higher. Is that what you're talking about?
But maybe he has the capacity. If he was able to have confidence in his ability as a human being to do what he wants to do and not have to settle. But I don't know. How much do we judge others? You know what I mean? Like, that's
I mean, it's reflect. It's important to reflect. Yeah,
Mhm.
judging is one thing, but reflecting on how society operates and how people are in post-secondary.
Mhm.
I definitely think it's changed. Yeah, it's more of a thing to do
Mhm.
now, and I speak for myself as well. But I think I remind myself because I know the value of focusing on those like wisdom instead of intelligence, how to use the intelligence.
Why do you think?
I focus on reflecting on that because I see the value in that. I grow. I do grow, yeah, for sure, in so many different ways. But
Oh, shit.
it's like, what is this guy talking about? How do you grow?
Many different ways, baby. Oh, shit.
I think I'm just gonna fuck off to like Colombia after I graduate and
That's an
just
interesting
not
idea.
focus on any
Bro, I've
learning.
been having
and-
more fantasies of just staring up into the stars on a very starry night somewhere where there's no lights anywhere. Like, I've been having more and more fantasies of that.
Why?
I don't know.
So you don't want to be on Earth anymore? You just want to be in the outer rims of Pluto?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
You do know. I think you do. I think you want to share.
I think life, I find a lot of joy in, it seems like all good things come from stillness. Like when you're just nothing, when nothing's happening. Have you ever meditated before?
Oh yeah.
So when you're meditating and there's just stillness and there's no nothing.
Okay.
And it's almost like there's life in the Buddhism book. They say the greatest virtue is passionlessness.
Passionless.
Yeah. And the idea of just being still and calm and letting the experiences happen to you and understanding that you don't have a lot of control on these experiences that interact with you as a being. And that doesn't fall in line with any of the career.
That doesn't sound
ideas.
too ideal. I don't know.
Maybe it isn't for a lot of people.
You can't live your life without passion.
I don't think it's about living your life without passion. I think it's about transforming and maturing and being okay with life. Just being okay with it. And not getting caught in whatever emotional ride we take ourselves on every day.
I see. Okay, I think you're searching for more of a balance. Yeah, obviously you're not saying life should be passionless completely, but
no.
Searching for more of a balance of getting out of your head.
Of being okay in stillness. I don't have to be anything in any moment. Being okay, being comfortable with myself. I don't have to be anything. I just have to be comfortable with this because I don't have any control.
You're right. No, that's a very good way. It's hard to describe it, but I remember feeling exactly that in meditation. And I remember feeling so good about that after that I thought to myself, what if I were to go my entire life without experiencing that? That's scary. What if other people go their entire lives without experiencing that, that silence and that acceptance of not having to be anything in that moment or in that 10 minutes.
And that knowledge that comes from that experience.
Yeah.
Like that.
It's relieving.
It's relieving, and it's also...
transcending,
Your life changes. When you do certain things like that, when you force yourself to when you force yourself to break certain patterns within yourself, it's hard to...
What motivated you to get to that point, to start meditating? Was that it, meditating for you, or was it another?
I've probably dealing with like personal shit, like probably just feeling anxious or like just wanting to get better. And not that I was like, nothing was wrong or anything, but it's always been the pursuit of getting better.
Okay.
in some way.
Yeah,
And
everyone's
my mother was huge hippie.
a huge hippie.
Yeah, so like this shit's all from, I'm sure, birth. You know what I'm saying?
Innate.
Yeah.
I was born to meditate
What
on
about
one
you?
day.
But also, sorry, Sam Harris.
Sam Harris is...
He was a he's a neurologist
Yeah.
and a philosopher.
Yeah.
So he's got his PhD in neurology and philosophy, and he talks about doing meditation retreats for months, and he has his own meditation app, and he talks about how important it is, and there was avenues that I was able to explore when it came to that idea, so it made it accessible.
Sam Harris?
Sam Harris.
Interesting. My friend just came back. Travel was it for me.
Oh, really?
Travel.
Why?
Because it just got me out of my head. I traveled for the first time to Kenya with 11 people, and for the first time in my life, I didn't care what any of those other 10 people were thinking about me the entire day.
You're within the experience.
I wasn't focused on what other people were thinking of me in that entire month. I didn't give a shit. And that was revolutionary. It really was. I brought that back with me, and I'm better off for it. But that was because poverty and seeing the plight of others across the world allowed me to get out of that. And then I started meditating halfway through in Kenya. There was one girl that came with us that taught us how to meditate, put on a 30-minute thing.
Yeah.
And it was fucking...
Leader of truth.
It was
Leader of
a
knowledge.
revelation. It really was. Yeah.
And there are these things aren't that they kind of seem hippy dippy, but you look back through history.
Yeah.
You look back throughout all history, throughout all religions. There's these moments of silence that you need to have in order to have this spiritual moment with interacting with whatever. It goes beyond, it transcends every human creation. It's like it was there before we created it. So that's why it's interesting, and we don't get involved in that shit nowadays. Like, that's not
the Western world.
Yeah It's now only coming around because now it's like turned into, it can help your productivity at work.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it can make you better at doing work.
To make the capitalist machine
and
more
it's like,
efficient.
bro, that's not the
crazy.
point, dude.
Yeah.
Like, let's figure it out.
Did you read the thing yesterday on how they're companies installing new tilted toilets so that they can be more productive at work by decreasing the angle of the toilet? You can shit faster, I think, is the idea, and be more efficient at work. I think that's the idea.
Dude, people are in there.
I didn't click on the article. There's no way I was reading that, but that's the title, pretty much.
Dude, people are in there on their phones. Have you talked to your friends about who work like in corporate environments? What do they say about it?
About what, corporate
in terms
environment?
Of productivity.
Oh, shitting?
No, not shitting, bro. Productivity, period. Because I've had conversation with people who work in corporate environments. Say it's not very productive.
No. There's like at least like 3 hours of the day usually that
on Reddit,
they could be doing so many more productive things. Yeah, for sure. Fuck, you know the system in Finland or fucking somewhere in Scandinavia, their workday is so much shorter than ours.
Yeah, 6 hours.
And I don't know how you measure your productivity.
That's what we need to do.
But apparently, you know what else we need to fucking do?
We need to get another 6 hour workdays, 4 days a week.
You know what else we need to do though?
Souls.
That's for sure. Free education, fucking. Let's just, okay, I don't know where you're going with that. That needs to not be said. All right, we just went down a dark road, folks.
What were you saying? Sorry,
I was just gonna. Continuing with the, spiritual awakening.
Infowars.com.
Infowars.com.
Vitamin Vitality.
All right, I'm done.
50% off.
Fucking guy.
What were you saying?
I don't remember now. No,
you were saying something.
My friend just spent a year in Taiwan.
Yeah.
You know Taiwan? You've heard of that place?
Taiwan,
not Thailand.
Hopefully they stay safe over there in those Chinese waters, boy.
Okay, you know what it is. All right, yeah. It's an extension of the Chinese Empire.
Did you know that Apple removed the Taiwanese flag from their emoji?
Apple removed what? Why?
It's a crazy world, bro.
What?
China's deep in Apple. How much?
How do you know this, you fucking weirdo?
I was searching Hong Kong.
You were just going through the flags on Apple.
No, it was on Hong Kong Reddit.
Hong Kong Reddit. Okay, so does that mean they're going to be amalgamated with?
Hopefully not, but
China?
Maybe it's coming.
Is that what's going on?
Yeah.
Is the Hong Kong flag? Do they have their own flag? Is that not existent anymore?
Yeah, that's not existent.
They don't have a flag. Okay. Anyways, my friend spent a year there, and she did I
heard it's beautiful.
Oh my god, absolutely the best place to cycle. She cycled around the whole island, bro. That's an achievement. But she did a week-long retreat in India on her vacation. Silent retreat. You've heard of these, where you don't speak the entire day.
That's that's what Sam Harris.
That's what we need. That's what we're talking about. What are the positives of just not speaking? Is that you cannot focus on others around you, like you spend so much of your day doing, and you can focus on what's up here. Yeah, it's a thought that's hard to explain. I think it's different for everybody. The experience is different for everybody. But the way she described it was like, you know what, you would benefit from that. She said, Tyler, you need to go there.
I don't.
That was insulting. I was like, what? Do I need fixing? Do I need help here? What's going on?
We all do.
Yeah.
I feel.
Let's get real.
I feel like
you said that so seriously. Your face.
I feel like we all do. I definitely do.
We're all just broken souls. No, you're right.
It's a constant. That's the interesting thing.
Yeah.
It is a constant battle. What's that Greek mythology where the guy's fucking pushing the boulder up the hill? The little guy pushing the boulder up the hill, and then it just rolls back down to the bottom, and he just has to push it back up.
Oh,
that's pretty much life.
That's pretty much life.
Yeah. So and it seems dull if you come from the mindset of expectations of life. But if you just accept it, I think there's a lot of beauty to find in life that you don't have to reach out externally for. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to buy things. Or
right.
consume things. Or
that's what you're taught to do, though, man. Fuck.
It's our only sense of worth.
I'm taught to feel good going into a mall. I hate that feeling when I step into a mall and I'm like, yes, I'm going to grab that gift for somebody. I'm going to consume.
Yeah.
I hate that feeling because we're guilty of it. We're taught to do that. But
and we're only humans.
We're only humans that are easily to
But it goes back to the radical ideas of Bernie Sanders. You know what I mean? You said to yourself, it's radical. These radical ideas. But now, did you...
What?
How many countries are in protests right now? Around the world.
Quite a lot.
India. So
Iran.
India, Iran.
Iran. Please. Just gonna, every time you mention that name, I'm gonna correct you. It's not Iran. Nobody's
Bolivia,
running.
France. Hong Kong.
France, yes, you said that. Britain.
Chile.
To some extent.
And India.
India.
There was another country, but the UN recently released an article that talked about the ideas of the global distrust with the current system and its sustainability of our world. And we see it's like I don't know, we haven't lived that long. You know what I mean? We were kind of thrown into this world, and it's real interesting to go back and look on history, but it's so hard to interpret it as it's happening in the moment.
What do you mean? What's your point?
The historic protests going on around the world for equality from people. These are going to spread. This impeachment thing, I think, is just the beginning of this continuous... just fraction of the people and the elite ruling class. And I don't know where it goes when tens of millions of people in America or other countries feel like their voice doesn't matter. We're seeing it. We're seeing what happened. Young kids are throwing Molotovs and getting fucking arrested and all over the world. So it's pretty interesting. It's interesting times to live. It's a shame if you're not paying attention, I feel.
You're not paying attention to other countries,
to life.
to life.
You know, like it's where unfortunately you replace in that fucking book, in that Buddha book. He said
That Buddha book. What is that called?
The quote is, there's a quote that said, difficulty is the rebirth of the awakened.
Okay. Yeah.
And I thought it was, once you add these ideas, these conversations, these things to think about and toil over are difficult to think about because there is so much going on, and it creates unintended consequences within your life. And there's things you have to think about when it comes to thinking about the world and thinking about how much you want to participate in what's going on within just even our lives.
Have you ever gone to a protest? Have you ever gone to a demonstration?
No.
Strike? A movement? Social movement? Never participated? You ever hashtagged?
I think I'm gonna strike. If I'm protesting, like I'm going full blown protest.
Okay.
Like it's, I'll be there if imagine if Canada shut off the internet. I'm going out in the streets. You know what I mean? If there was like, because that's what they did in India. They shut off the internet.
Is that recent in India?
Yeah.
Oh, they did that in Iran. But
Iran. Please.
Nobody's running. It's okay. It's all right. You're white. It's all right.
Dude. White devil. We just communicate. Oh, dude, that was way too good, bro. I'll tell you that.
It's my cat
Are you
purring.
a lizard?
It's a cat, actually. I'm obsessed with cats.
Cats, yeah. Ancient Egypt, obsessed with cats.
That has nothing
Dude,
to do with anything in this conversation.
What were you just saying?
Interconnectivity of everything in the world.
What were you saying?
Egypt. India. I didn't know India had shut off their internet. I thought it was Iran.
No, shut off.
When?
Internet.
A few weeks ago? Still, and it's still off.
Yeah, because they are allowing only
fucked.
certain non-Muslims from getting citizenship in India. It's a
religious thing.
Yeah, and so people were on the streets for that, but then they shut off the internet. And now people are even more on the streets and they're like buses on fire and shit. So if someone shut off the internet, that's the salvation I feel in my life. If I didn't have the internet, bro, I'm fucked.
The quickest way to stifle dissent is that.
And give people lack of information.
Yeah.
Lack of real information in order to make real-time decisions. That's what we need. We need real information to make decisions.
I think we realized that in the Arab Spring. The Arab Spring, they used social media, Facebook, to actually propel their movement, bro. And it fucking worked.
Twitter. I remember watching that live in Egypt.
You remember watching that? You were a youngin'.
I was live
you were a youngin'.
On Vice. No, it wasn't on Vice. What was it? 2000?
It was 2009?
9.
Was it? 2010? 2010.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
In Tunisia, the guy set himself afire.
Yeah, bro, that shit was crazy.
Yeah.
That was the first time, you're right, that was the first time Twitter was mainly the vehicle used.
Yeah, Twitter and Facebook, it was.
Gather people. And
we realized how you can harness that power. Dude, it fucking worked in multiple countries around the world.
Ukraine, it started happening too after that. There was a protest in Ukraine.
Yeah.
And that when Russia basically invaded.
Russia's great, man.
Dude,
Russia's just lovely.
Fucking shooting bows and fucking hoes, dude. He's definitely doing both.
Shooting bows?
Dude, he's
fucking hoes.
That's Joe Rogan's secret idol.
Wow. This is an explicit podcast.
Anything else you want to cover? You'll come back on, I'm sure, right?
No, it's what. Okay, I initially asked you if you ever had been in a protest because it is an empowering feeling, but it can also have the opposite effect where you literally feel like you're more powerless than when you started because you realize it doesn't have an effect. Depending on obviously what movement it is and your involvement, but I've been in 2, and the latest one was the Friday strike for change, climate change. Yeah. The whole Greta Thunberg movement. It's empowering. The biggest thing for me was feeling a sense of collectivity, if that's the word. Being a part of a community who actively is against how this system works. Yeah. Capitalism is what we're talking about. But the one thing I find that we're not having in this conversation, if we're to talk about climate change, it's a whole behemoth of a topic, but is we're not getting to the details. It's we need to change the system, and there's no further analysis to that. Dude, the system is so complicated. Like capitalism is ingrained in the world and globalization,
and I don't even think it's capitalism. I think it's fucking
it's growth of industry.
It's fucking
neoliberal.
It's not. It's a rigged system. Like I don't.
Of course, it's a rigged system.
I don't believe it's truly capitalistic. That's. If we don't even conquer that problem, how do we even focus on climate change?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Is we need, if we want to focus on climate change, we need to focus on that.
Yeah.
You need to decouple emissions with climate change. Sorry, with industry. You need to decouple the emissions with the growth of industry.
There's too much power within these institutions that have cemented themselves and represented themselves as the backbone of our society, saying that if this falls apart, everything's going to fall apart. We're going to be fucked. And and then how do you do that? It's just gaining information. You just have to inform yourself to the depths. You have to go. We have to do, bro. It's like a burden. We live in a wonderful time. There's always everything in life is polar. There's always an opposite to everything in life. And we live in such a beautiful time, but there's such a burden we have to do to inform ourselves.
Yeah. People don't have the attention span, man, or the time or the patience.
I don't even think people try.
No.
That's the thing. It's like maybe people would if they tried. You just got to be like, hey, I want to sit down for 10 minutes and like educate myself on this because I'm curious about these ideas and maybe they can help me.
I think you got to foster that in the education system. And for me, that worked.
Yeah.
My education.
Yeah.
But
my education was awful.
Yeah.
Dude, I got such shitty marks, dude. But I'm probably not made for it. You know, now I'm getting good marks and shit because
but you're reflective and critical and you have these skills, but is that taught from somewhere else other than the education system or just your innate interest?
I don't know. And who knows?
Yeah.
I don't know if we'll ever figure that shit out. But not being so judgmental is probably important.
Yeah. What's the biggest animal you've killed?
Biggest animal I've killed. 3 humans.
Oh my God. I don't think I should be here in this house with you right now.
Yeah, do you think they'll flag me for that? What about you?
A goat.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you actually kill it?
Yeah, I did.
Did you watch the life come from it? Like,
okay, don't make me feel guilty. You will not win in making me feel guilty. Dude, I've accepted
Isn't that like
the
satanic?
goat's fate. No, it's survival. It's not satanic.
Yeah, the goat's the Baphomet, isn't it?
The what?
The Baphomet.
What is that?
That's the satanic creature who does the goat with the fucking hands.
Oh, that, yeah, with the horns and everything. Yeah. Well, no, I was hungry.
Maybe you could say.
I was just fucking hungry.
Where was it?
It's in Kenya, man. Way out in the middle of nowhere where there's.
Was it actually like you
tribal?
Just butt ass naked with dirt all over your body?
Oh,
I've been out here for weeks. You kind of.
I gotta just pick up a rock to smash this goat's head in and don't even have a knife. So barbaric. Turned into a savage now. Fuck, no.
And then you came back, you readapted to normal life.
But how weird is that question? Fucking Riley at work the other day, just not even 10 minutes into work, I go into the back and he's looking at me, just straight face. Yo, bro, what's the biggest animal you've killed?
And then his neck turned 360 degrees. 360 degrees around.
Oh my God. Just getting pleasure out of hearing the death of animals.
Yeah, that's kind of a strange question.
That's the first step to.
But I mean, you know what? Just
psychopathic tendency.
Yeah, that's kind of trippy.
And Dylan loved it. He's like, well, I mean, I've killed a whole family of bears.
Oh,
like, I don't want to hear this
he
fucking.
told me that story too.
Woo!
A whole family affairs.
I know.
Oh my
It's
god.
like, I didn't mean to,
Oh,
but I didn't know they were
so-
behind the trees that we were shooting at with our
dude.
big military grade weapons.
Oh shit, bro.
Yeah.
That's horrifying.
Anyways, so let's.
Yeah, that's. There's
What, you've never even hit a squirrel before?
Yeah, I killed a squirrel with a marshmallow gun.
Marshmallow, like a BB gun, you mean?
Yeah, like I shot it off a branch and it landed on a fence. That's
gruesome.
Yeah, it was crazy. I was young too, dude.
Yo, as a youngin' seeing that shit?
I was kind of horrified of myself.
Oh my god.
What were you just? Yeah, there's people. The more I think about life, and the more I try to understand, the less I see people that aren't. The more I see people aren't trying to understand.
Yeah.
And things become transparent. And then I think that's the hardest thing to deal with.
Yeah.
If you're an individual person and you want to understand, try to understand, then it's a hard road, I think, because you will feel lost in some sense, and you will feel isolated, I feel. But it's all part of the fucking journey. It's kind of beautiful. Because then isn't that what it's all about? Just a fucking journey, you know?
As long as you're cognizant and you're aware along this journey. If you're just mindless.
In that Buddha book, bro, they said...
This Buddha book. You keep bringing it up, man. I need to see this Buddha book.
The Dhammapada.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah. Dhamma. It's a free audiobook on YouTube.
Yo, you need to go to Thailand or wherever they have Buddhism.
Tibet. Fucking. It says ignorance is the greatest taint.
Okay.
Meaning.
Okay. Yeah.
Taint in your life. That is the greatest taint a human being can have. It is nothing else but the choice to be ignorant.
The choice. Yeah. People don't have the capacity to choose to be informed, but they do. They do. You're right.
Consumed by pleasure. All we do is just pleasure ourselves in any possible way.
Yeah, I did it for a while last night. Yeah.
Me and you both.
I'm referring to Instagram. It's very pleasurable for me. It's an addiction.
Dude, there's so many things to jerk off to on Instagram.
Oh my god.
I hate Instagram because it's like I just want to jerk off every time I open it up. Why do there gotta be so many fucking beautiful girls?
I've posted like 3 times a day for the past week. I know you're referring to my account. It's been working out a lot lately. You can just put it out on the table. I know.
Hey, you look very good, dude.
Thanks, man.
All right. Anything else you want to talk about?
I think we covered the world issues, and
Donald Trump will win 2020. Donald Trump will win 2020. Donald Trump will win 2020.
That's one perspective.
Yeah. Well, I think the Democrats fucked them over. We're truth tellers. This is future telling. Actually, we're Nostradamus. The Senate will not impeach Trump, and he will remain in office. Watch, we're gonna be fucking prophets because that's exactly what's gonna happen. Everybody else is so. All right.
You know what? That's how the world is. You got to accept it.
I ended that a little fucking intense, bro. All right. See you soon, dude.
All right. Peace. Later, skater.
There you go.
Getting away from the mind is to transcend the thinking mind. Transcend doesn't mean it becomes completely abolished, but you discover in yourself a deeper dimension. It's only by discovering that depth in you that you can become free of being the slave to conditioned thinking, the voice in the head that never stops. So we are here to find or deepen that dimension that is in everyone, one could call it a dimension of consciousness, that has been pointed to by ancient teachers for thousands of years, the possibility that there is another dimension in you, not something that you need to bring about, but something you just need to discover because it's already there. It's just being overlooked continuously, very much like the fish may be tempted to overlook the presence of water and spend his whole life looking for it. And says, I've been told there is this incredible thing that pervades everything and surrounds us and is within us, and I've been looking for it all my life. And it's very much the same with what is sometimes called the spiritual dimension of life. It's already here within you, and yet most people haven't found it.